You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam, and I'm your host. And today's episode will be brought to you after these words from our sponsors.
Tired of the same old desk job? Looking to make a difference? In the shadows? Then suit up with the Shadow Vanguard, Horizon's frontline defenders of the solar frontier. These daring technicians don't just chase glory, they chase cable faults, balance sun fields, and brave the elements to keep Horizon glowing bright. It's not all capes and mystery. It's tools, grit, and know-how. Trained in the art of silence, sweat, and solar panel calibration, the Shadow Vanguard gets the job done while the rest of the city sleeps. Apply today and receive full benefits, protective gear, and your very own badge of honor. No nonsense, just noble work in the sun's shadow. Shadow Vanguard. We harness the light, so you don't have to.
Hi everybody, we're back. We're continuing on with the escape of the Aurora from the LaRue mansion. Everybody is now crammed inside the luxury yacht, and it is heading for the skies. But before we get on to that, I want to introduce the players, or in fact, I'll ask them to introduce themselves. And this time we will start with Ed.
Hi, my name's Ed Fortune, and I play the character of Captain Carter Heek, who's just this guy, you know. He is an engineer adventurer who is responsible for making sure that the broken and ancient mysterious things stay either broken or at least work the way they're supposed to.
Hi, I'm Ross. I'm playing Savriel Sai, a Nautilus soldier sharpshooter who is definitely on the side of, if they're broken, they're supposed to be broken, and I'm going to keep them that way.
Hi, I'm Lou. I'm playing Kuru Arak, who would like to keep as many people as alive as possible, to a greater or lesser degree. Let's see how things work out.
And I am Adam, and I'm playing Grokeo Balazari, a Kalanat priest of the Church of Neridia, who is just happy to be able to sit down again.
As mentioned before, the Aurora lurches through the storm-laden skies, its engines humming with barely contained power, its elegant form cutting a path through the torrential rain. This once luxurious pleasure yacht, now scarred with archaeological interest, some battle scars, but repurposing for expeditions, is a stark contrast against the lightning-laced horizon. We're not going to go inside the yacht straight away. We're going to go a little bit to the east of the yacht, and dashed in the rain and pushed around and buffeted by the winds, we find Captain Heek daringly escaping from the mansion. There are two things you can see. You can see that it's getting later, and the moons are slowly making their way across the sky. You can see that you're about maybe 10 miles outside the edge of the storm, and as you head towards the station where you were originally going to be rendezvousing with, you know that by the time you get there, you'll probably not be in this amount of torrential danger. And in fact, no, not two things, three things, because the third thing you can see, probably about 500 yards to the west of you, is the Aurora. It's lurched its way out from the hangar and made its way across towards where your rendezvous was going to be. It looks like it's not being flown very well, but it is heading in the right direction. You are somewhat in front of it. As you glance back, can you do me a perception check?
What's my difficulty?
2.
1 success, 2 advantage.
Okay, on this side of the ship alone, you can see at least one of the Vreen frog people clutching to the side of the ship. The one that's there is holding half onto the ladder that you can get up into the ship through, and half with its webbed fingers sticking to the side of the ship. You basically see an outline of this darkened shape against the mottled and somewhat damaged silver of the ship.
Where are the other Vreen? Because I've been trying to lead them away.
None of them are seemingly flying, so they're following you, but you can't really see them. Or at least they were following you when you were in the open air. You can't really see them anymore because you've gone over the forest, and potentially they're following you, but they're not following you on bees or anything like that. They're on the ground.
Okay. I am going to try and catch up by doing a stunt.
Okay.
I'm going to increase my altitude.
Yep.
And then, essentially, tap up here on the head so he goes to sleep,
Okay.
which means I will plummet at an angle, which will allow me to catch up. So I'm going to do the sums, because either I'm going to badly miss and be in a nest full of rain, or be able to, like, wake up just in time to,
This
like,
isn't one
land
of
on
your
the
motion
bomb.
pictures. You'll probably be fine.
It'll be fine.
Oh, you should do me a piloting roll. And because this is, I would say, ludicrously dangerous, I'm going to flip a dark side.
Okay.
Difficulty 2, though. Just 1 red.
What kind of motion pictures is it? Like slapstick or...
He's an action hero.
Yeah, but so's Wile E. Coyote.
I'd argue Wile E. Coyote is an antagonist rather than a protagonist, and he's definitely a protagonist.
Just checking, a despair is a sad-looking triangle, isn't it?
It is a sad-looking triangle, yeah.
So I have 1 success, 4 advantage, and a sad triangle.
Okay, cool. So, 1 success. Let's look on the bright side for a second, shall we? 1 success means that you do the manoeuvre perfectly. Your bee goes to sleep for a second and you, I don't want to say plummet, but you Buzz Lightyear it down towards the ship. You fall with style. And as you land on the ship, you don't land as lightly as you possibly can and have a bit of a jolt. And your saddlebags kind of move around a little bit. And the box bumps out from the saddlebag, which you are sure that you tightened up, and bounces across the deck. The deck is not massively large. It's probably only about 40 feet by about 20 feet. But it has skidded its way to the other side of the deck. And as you look over to it, one of the frog creatures puts his arm over the side of where it was climbing up, puts his other arm over, pulls the jagged blade from its mouth as it does so, and leaps onto the deck, right next to it. Doesn't seem to have noticed the box yet, though, but it is right next to it. And everybody's fairly within medium range of this, so I'd like to roll initiative.
So hang on, let me get this right. I'm on the platform of an airship,
Yes.
in the middle of a thunderstorm,
Yes. On a giant P.
wearing an explorer's hat,
Yes.
having a fisticuff fight with a cultist.
With a cultist, while the artifact you want is sliding around the deck. That's fairly on brand.
Yep, that thing belongs in a carefully controlled archive.
So, can everybody roll me initiative?
I'm assuming it's going to be vigilance for all of us.
Yeah.
I got 3 successes.
I also have 3 successes.
No success, 2 advantage.
And I have 2 successes and 3 advantage.
The creature and, well, the mob got 4 successes and 1 advantage.
Uh-oh.
And is it just one minion group, effectively, for... Or
It's 1 minion group, yeah.
So our initiative order is the minion group, then everybody else.
Okay, the rain is lashing down. Your mount shakes itself around as it lands. You see across the deck, probably about 20 feet away, the frog cultist holding its wicked knife, rain slicked, with the box slowly sliding to a halt in front of its feet. It stares at you, and there's almost a double take as it stares down at the box and then stares back at you. And it reaches for it, grabs it and sticks it under its arm. And then, rather than jumping back, well, actually jumping back off would be insane, that would kill it. Rather than jumping back the way it came, it makes a, I'm going to use a terrible pun, beeline for you. And I'm just going to roll an attack.
I did think it was going to grab the box, just yeet itself back off the deck and be like, well, one of my minions will pick this up from where it lands. Kfluft.
Yeah, they're not the Borg. They they don't actually want to die, so...
Oh dear.
No, it's fine. It's actually fine. That counts as... It's actually a failure, don't worry about it. But it is a failure and 5 advantage.
When the GM starts giggling, you assume it's for the worst.
He goes for you, Ed, and slashes himself at your chest, you being bee height, missing completely. But realising what he's got and that he may be being a little bit too forward, with those advantages, what he does is he takes the box and he throws it to another of the creatures that's coming over the other side of the railing. There are, in total, 3 of these creatures. The other 2 are probably about 20 feet away from you as they come up different sides of the ship. The cultist in front of you now no longer has the box as it rugby throw into the arms of another one of the cultists.
I'm surprised it didn't yoink the bee.
Yeah, they're not that bright. and there's a reason why they wouldn't do. I will tell you about it later.
Can I take the next action slot? Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
Count for me, yeah.
My two thoughts are either to flash coordinate
Yeah.
or to get the bee to flash coordinate for me. And given the fact that if I flash coordinate, I can fall off the ship, that's funnier, so I'm doing that one.
Right.
It's basically the same rule.
You leap off your bee.
So I didn't think I was on the bee.
You haven't got off the bee.
Oh, I haven't
You
got
landed.
off the bee.
No.
Oh, is it a survival check? Is it a piloting check to charge the bee?
Survival, it's animal. It's to do with animals, so it's survival.
Right. Okay.
You want to charge the guy with the box with you on the bee, correct?
Yeah.
Right. Do me a survival. Do me 2 difficulty on that one.
Okay. This is going to go horrible.
I mean, I suppose I can see an argument. If all you're doing is having Appia move you, then that's fine. But if you want Appia to attack,
I would like to do Appia to move me, and then I would like to jump off the bee to get the box.
Okay.
Is that athletics or palate?
Which one's more important?
So yes, I'd like to go for athletics because A, it's a funnier roll, and B, if I crit it, it goes horribly wrong. Is that difficulty 2?
Yes.
So I spur the bee,
Yep.
and essentially what he's going to do is he's going to throw me off, which I know that, and I brace for that. And it's to give me the extra move.
Yeah.
before you roll, could I suggest that both of you, GM and player, flip a story point? Because it will be much more fun.
I was waiting for him to hopefully doing that, but I wasn't going to flip one until he did. Yes, can we please? If you are wanting to flip a light side, I'm very happy to flip a dark side.
Cool. So it's 2 yellow, 1 purple, and 1 red.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's a triumph and a failure.
So, a failure overall, but a triumph involved as well.
I think I have the box, but I'm hanging off the ship, aren't I?
That is a lot worse than I was thinking. So yeah, let's do that.
I think I've got the reins lashed onto one bit, but I'm hanging off the box.
Oh no, I love that.
I've literally slid off, like Indiana Jones in any given movie, slid off the deck.
He does a strangely incredible turn of speed across the deck and stops suddenly, launching you off the front of it and at this frog person. Unfortunately, as you do so, your foot catches on the reins and just catches you back as you do so and swings you off to the side. There's a second of the frog person lurching backwards and then looking slightly relieved that you've missed them and then realizing it doesn't have the box anymore in that action hero double take villain style way. You swing violently to the left and the next thing you feel is a thud as you hit the side of the outside of the ship. You are holding the box from one hand. The only thing that is keeping you from plummeting to your doom is the thing that's attaching you to your bee, the reins holding round your leg. The rein beats down and makes it very, very difficult to move anywhere. You know, the reins creak as they are leather and soaked. And that's where we're going to leave you. Next player.
Could I take the next lot to try and grab Captain Heek and drag him back onto the deck?
You are a medium range away. You can get up to short range and see what's going on. You can make your way over with doing a double move. So you can do some strain to get there and do it.
Yep. Yeah, so I would like to double move over to Captain Heek.
Okay, so you double move over. I'm thinking possibly an athletics roll, unless you can convince me otherwise there's something else to pull in. Ed, have you got any dots in athletics? Any actual?
Yes, so he's got 1 yellow and 1 green.
So you can do this as a group thing where he assists you.
I also have 1 yellow and 1 green. But if we want to chuck them in so we get a boost, then...
Yeah. Because obviously he's not just as dead weight. If you are trying to help him, he's trying to help himself as well. So I think that's perfectly reasonable for you to do a group roll. I am going to give you a setback dice though because of the situation. There is literally no handhelds for you, but you do get a boost on it. In fact, I'm just going to remember from last session, you had a roll which you had some advantages on, which we didn't get to use the boosts on. So you're quite happy to put those in here if you wish.
He does have a tool available to him that isn't his hands. He has the finest teeth on the land.
You bite me, I will punch you.
I was thinking more like to free myself, but yes.
I'm hopefully not having to tell you what bad stuff will happen if you gnaw through the strap that's holding you. Right, okay, just so you know.
The store was there.
So, Lou, if you want to give it a roll, You should have 3 boosts and 1 setback, difficulty 2.
Ooh,
Ooh.
that's 1 failure and 6 advantage.
But it's not a despair, so Ed doesn't have to rewrite a character.
So yeah, we haven't managed to
Drop Heek off the side.
to drop Heek off of the side.
But you've got a massive amount of advantages. What would you like to use them for? You essentially can spend 3 of them in an equivalent of a triumph almost thing there. So it's a... so whatever you like to do, just let me know.
So, because the reins are still around Appia, I would like to effectively get Appia in on this and get her pulling to stop us swinging away.
I'm happy for you to use 3 of those advantages to mean that you didn't manage to help get him up, but what you are doing kind of almost spooks or at least makes Appia back off, basically stepping backwards, pulls him up unceremoniously, unfortunately bonking his head as he goes over the railing and planting him somewhat, as I say, unceremoniously on the deck.
And at this point, I lose my hat, go across onto the deck, skidding, obviously.
Slides quite far away, probably within reaching distance if you needed to go through a door, but that's probably about it.
I'd like to use a couple of them to get some strain back.
Cool.
And then, like, for the last bit, could I just... that I'm not immediately like a starfish prone on the deck, so I'm not just there going to be easily stabbed.
You can use that extra 1 to remind me that they really only want the box and you're not holding it.
Yep.
That's fine.
Absolutely, yes.
In fact, give yourself a boost on your next go, or the next person will maybe get a boost, because literally that's going to happen anyway. This is a game of American football, Flash Gordon style, and you don't have the ball. Ross, you said you wanted to go next.
Yeah, my sensible plan at that time was shoot the bad thing so that you can't go after the box. However, the scenario seems to have opened up for a comedy of errors where I have slightly better athletics roll than they do, and it might be tempting to just jump after them and try and get them all back on and put all of us out there. So,
Okay, what do you want to do?
I don't know. Which kind of movie is this?
Kind of the characters define what kind of movie it is, and Captain Heek is an action hero, so he keeps getting in situations where an action hero would be.
I'm not sure, but I think the soundtrack is by Queen, so...
Okay, as long as it's not the Benny Hill tune, then we're fine. So I'm going to go with plan A, which was shoot them and hope that they are distracted away from the box.
You are at medium range for them. You'd need to move up to short range to be able to see them, though, because you're down below. So you'd have to use a maneuver to get into position.
Okay, so yeah, with that I can't go into true aim or anything like that at the minute.
No,
I'm
not
just
this time, because you're making your way onto the deck and you see 3 people, three of these creatures.
I was going to say, yeah, and it's also wet and slippery out here.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't bother you as much, but yeah.
No, I was going to say it doesn't bother me that much, but it's something to concentrate on rather than aiming things.
You make your way onto the deck. You see Captain Heek sprawled over the deck. 3 of these creatures kind of encircling him almost, if you triangulating him, maybe, as you make your way on. They look angry and vicious and carry sharp knives.
Okay, so is this still difficulty 2 then?
At short range, it's difficulty 1. It's... yeah.
Well, okay, I don't need to worry about shooting into a combat or anything like that then.
No, they're not. There's one of them that's right next to where they are, but there's another 2 that aren't in combat, so you can shoot those.
Do I want to flip a light side points as well then?
Yeah, you should give me some more dark side points. That's a really good idea of this situation.
Let's concentrate on getting this box back. Yes, I will flip aside. That is 2 success and 1 advantage.
Okay, and your damage was 7, was it?
So 9 damage.
Okay, you get onto the deck, and it only takes you a second to get into the zone of this is another combat. Your rifle flips over from your shoulder, goes into your stock, and you let out a crack. And one of the frog people, well, it might not have killed him, but he is no longer on the ship. So that's his problem. His head jerks back and his legs flip over the side. That's one of them down. There's 2 left. Adam.
So I can't work out exactly what's going on up there, because the majority of what's happening is out of my sphere of perception. But what I am aware is that Savriel has ran up and fired a shot.
Yeah, there's definitely gunfire. Yeah.
And suddenly, appearing within my sphere of perception, not being carried by Captain Heek or by anyone we know, but skidding across the floor and sliding in to that dome in which I can perceive, is the crystal. Because it's been established that even through the box, Rakeo can still sense it.
That is correct.
So something is clearly going on up there. And so Rakeo is going to contribute in the way that he thinks is probably most useful, which is limping up the stairs and grabbing the box, possibly with the end of his staff of office, this long 6-foot wooden burnished pole complete with brass and silver fixtures at the top, which he then uses to hook the box and pull it towards him and down the stairs.
As you make it up into so you can see more of what's going on, the box slid into your vision at the start of the round, but between then and now it's been thrown to another frog person and then grasped off that frog person by Heek, so he is now clutching it on the floor.
Yes, sorry, I thought I'd been knocked out of Heek's hand and was freewheeling across the deck. Okay, let me revise that then, because that makes less sense. It makes it sound like I've not been paying attention, which I have been, but I just misinterpreted it in my brain.
No, it's fine. I'm glad we were able to kind of clarify it.
If you can sense the box, does that mean you can also sense where Heek is by the light of the box?
Well, he can sense you.
I can sense you now. You have slid into my range. But yeah, I think I'm going to get up the stairs as far as I can, swing my staff out to try and hook the box and go, "Quick, send the box to me. It will be safer down here. It cannot be blown off the ship." I'm hoping that Heek can just kind of flick it towards me and I can hook it, or I can just use all my manoeuvres and get up there and grab it and slide it down.
I quite like the idea of you treating it like a hockey puck.
Yeah.
It turns it into a Kevin Smith film.
Yeah.
You make your way up and make a plea to have the box thrown. I will count it as an out-turn action, Ed, if you want to pass the box over.
Oh, I will definitely, after hearing the words, they're playing some sort of primitive game, yeah, I will spike the box.
Isn't that throwing it really hard on the floor?
Or like towards...
Slide.
Slide. I will slide the box towards the priest. What do I need to roll?
I think I'm going to be alright, because it's not your turn and I don't want it to actually affect on yourself. Adam, I'd like you to do me a coordination roll.
What's the difficulty, please?
2 again. But I am going to, because you keep using light side points, flip a dark side.
I'm going to counter flip that back.
Good plan.
Red, purple, yellow, green.
Oh, nice.
One triumph, one despair.
Wow.
But no no successes, so it is a failure. It's like everything is cancelled out, but with a triumph and the despair. So yeah, a failure with a triumph and despair.
It is a spectacular singularity.
It is, yeah.
So let's deal with the triumph first, because we know what happens.
I have a suggestion,
Go for it.
if I may, of how this. So, the box slides towards me.
Yep.
I try to hook it with my staff. I pull it into me, but I pull it too hard. I hadn't realised quite how fast that he could shunted it. I managed to grab the box, but my staff has now gone down the stairs, and as I'm stumbling to, like, it hit me in the chest, I stagger back, at which point one of the other frog blokes leapfrogs over Heek into me and rolls me down the stairs into all the knockups.
I love that. The only thing I'm going to add is, as you laying a heap at the bottom of the stairs, Adam, you notice the box is open and to the side?
Yes.
And you feel the power of the crystal as, almost by instinct, it is now in your hand.
Oh, yeah, no, that works even better. Yeah, so I'm on the bottom of the stairs with a frogman trying to bite my face off and an evil crystal in my hand. Cracking. Love it.
I'll come back to you on the crystal in a second. Back to the top.
Which is an NPC to go.
Sorry, Adam. He's going to try and stab you.
No, it's legit. I'm going to say that he's going to get a boost on this because I'm prone on my back with him on top of me.
That seems fair.
I technically have 2 melee defense, but one of them is the fact I'm wearing big robes, and one of them is the fact I have a big stick, neither of which seems right to apply here either.
The big robes is fine. The big robes is fine, the big stick is not. Because you can't move the stick around to defend yourself, but you are still wearing the robes.
Yeah, I imagine my big stick is somewhere on the ground.
Yeah.
You mentioned before, like, the kind of character we are dictates what sort of game we're currently playing, with Ed being a big damn hero. I'm a lorist in a Call of Cthulhu game, and I expect to be treated as such. That is the story that Rakeo is telling.
That is 3 success, but 4 disadvantage. So no, one cancel that. 3 disadvantage, sorry. I'll deal with the disadvantage myself.
Yep.
But the success That is 7 wounds, I'm afraid, mate.
That's fine.
As he pulls one of his little jagged, crooked obsidian glass daggers and just pushes it into your shoulder.
Could I suggest for the disadvantages, the sort of the threats that he's rolled, boosts to one of the other PCs to attack him because he's so focused on me and the thing in his hand, he's not paying attention. They are not paying attention.
I am more than happy with that. That seems like a good idea and better than the thing I was thinking of. Okay, on the deck there are another couple of the guys and one more of the cultists, and he skitters along the deck. You can see he's slipping somewhat frantically to try and get towards the box. He's just going to do a move, and he makes his way down into where everybody else is, where the NPCs are. You guys on the deck are very briefly alone. Who wants to go first?
Am I okay to go?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
Go for it.
Right, so I'm currently on the deck. Is that right?
Yep, you've just slid the box over to Adam, who, from your perspective, has expertly pulled it back inside the ship, keeping it safe.
And AB is on the side of the ship, but that's fine because they can just stay there.
Yep, they're fine out there, yeah.
So they're probably doing that thing that like Intents do where they're being moved at speed where they just hunker down, which looks really cool.
Yes.
How many beasties?
There are none here at the moment. There's one at the top of the stairs into the main part of the ship. The other one has tumbled down the stairs with Adam, so you don't have any. If you move to short range, you should be able to see them.
Move to short range.
So you move to the top of the stairs into the ship itself.
Grab my hat along the way, put it on.
Naturally.
Check the railings, look at the railings to see that there's not another hand that's about to go over.
No, looks safe.
And then enter into the stairs to see the disaster that's going on.
Okay, so that's double move. You take 2 strain, you can do an action.
I will take 2 strain. Do I want to? I don't want to shoot into melee, do I? That'd be terrible idea.
Funny though.
It would be funny. I'm going to try and pull the cultist off the priest, because that would be a terrible thing.
Okay.
Oh, actually, no, there's a box open, isn't there?
Yeah, there is a box open. He's holding the crystal. Unless you want to be hiding it, I imagine you're not quite ready to be hiding it. You're just like, oh, crystal. He's holding the crystal. The box is on the floor. One of the cultists is on top of him, and there is another cultist who's just made his way down the stairs. If you attack the cultist on top of him, you're going to pass this cultist, and he's going to be able to stab you in the back.
Oh, okay. So there was a moment where I check my gear, and I'm like, safety tape for the crystal, or wrench, bang.
Okay. So are you getting the cultist who you'd have to go past to get to?
Yeah, I'm getting the one that's directly in front of me, otherwise we both get stabbed.
I'd like you to do me a roll to hit with your wrench. I want you to get a boost dice because he doesn't know you're there.
Yep. Ooh, that is a failure and a disadvantage.
Okay. Take the strain for your disadvantage because you didn't do any stretches before you started wielding this around. You've overswept with him, and the wrench has clanged against the wall, jarring up your arms as it does so.
I've overestimated where his head is.
Yeah.
Clanged the side. He's turned round, and rather than looking at the wrench, has looked at me, and now we're like face to face.
That's right. And you are not defending your face.
Yeah. I am very much imagining you are Indiana Jones as played by Michael Crawford.
Yeah, that's perfect. That is exactly what's happening. Who's next?
I'm happy to take another swing at one of the people.
You're at the top of the stairs. You didn't make your way fully out into the onto the deck before you shot. You can see down the bottom of the stairs there is a wrench fight going on between Heek and one of the cultists, and another one of the cultists sprawled across for the blind priest that you met earlier. He has the crystal in his hand, the priest.
I mean, which is a dangerous thing to have at the best of times. So I would like to deal with the second one, the one nearest the priest. I am not using my rifle because we are on the inside of an airship, and that usually leads to ricochets or worse, punctures. So
I should stress as well, this airship is not got a big bag over the top of it. It is not an airship because it's filled with air. It's an airship because it's a ship that flies in the air.
Okay.
It is solar powered, and it looks a lot more like your conventional Star Wars ship. It's just planetary. It is powered by giant sails, which are not filled at the moment. So not unfilled.
yeah, Star Wars ships tend to be quite sturdy and not flexible. So I mean, ricochet is still not a good thing, but nevertheless,
hilarious thing.
It is a hilarious thing, but there are people, and I don't really want to miss and hit a friend. So I'm going to go to my less skilled set, which is because shooting into 2 yellow dice.
irrespective, if you're using a firearm, it upgrades the difficulty to a red because you're firing into melee. So unless you pull a melee weapon and then move in...
No, I'm going to jump on the second one. I'm going to run and tackle the second.
Okay, the one on Adam or the one on Ed?
Adam's character.
Okay, you dart your way down the stairs.
Because I haven't seen how good he is with a stick, really.
Just flying drop kick down the stairs.
Do you want to grapple them or do you want to cause them damage?
I'd like to cause them damage.
Okay then.
Because I'm clearly very violent in this character.
So roll me a brawl then.
That is 2 advantage, and therefore a failure.
You make your way down to the floor. You know what's worse, Adam, than having 2 people sprawled around trying to get a crystal? It's for having 3 people sprawled around having to get a crystal. As Ross makes his way down the stairs, possibly slips a little bit and ends up sprawled on top of the cultists and on top of you.
How embarrassing.
It's all right. It's just in front of every single one of your future employers on the ship. That's
yes.
fine.
They've just seen a Nautilus slip in water, yeah.
Yeah. Who's next?
I would like to make my way down the stairs and attempt to assist the captain with the other cultist that's attempting to make his way into the into the ship.
You can make your way down the stairs. The captain is in hand-to-wrench combat at the moment, so you can help him quite easily. You're going to be using a melee weapon or shooting into it.
As Kura looks at her hand, sort of flexes a bit, and claws extend from her hands, because she's a Sister Venom.
Yeah.
And then I'll attempt to grab this one around the throat. Let's see how well that works out for me. Well, that's 2 threats, so these cultists seem to have, like, an amazing amount of protection. They've got amazing plot armour.
I'll be honest, I am fairly sure they've only ever hit you guys twice. So, bad rolls are around them, so it must be the crystal. You plough into the cultist and suddenly everybody is on the floor. There is a mad scramble as Heek, you are also knocked to the ground with the cultist and yourself, Kura. It is somewhat of a mad scramble, so who comes out on top? Who's next?
It's me as the last person to go. Ricco's having a bad time. He is buried beneath the cultist. People keep falling on him. The fact that the crystal in his hand is pulsing energy into him, that's overwhelming his foresight, so he can't even really see what's going on. He's bleeding, he's injured. All he knows is there is something on top of him that is a danger and a threat. So, using the crystal, as one might a rock, I'm going to attempt to smash it in the head, and I'm going to make an ebb power check as part of this as well.
Adam, when you do your roll for your melee, I'd like you to add a force dice as well.
Cool. I kind of want to flip a light side point on this, but I also kind of feel that, I don't know. Yeah, I am. I'm going to flip a light side point on this.
And flip it back, please.
Yeah, that's what I thought, Mike. It just works really well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's not surprising.
1 success, 1 threat, 2 dark side pips. I'm going to use one of those dark side pips to trigger ebb, which is bad for everyone because he's panicking. Because what ebb does is everyone engaged with me, which I imagine is, in terms of where people are, the whole party, both of these cultists and probably some of the NPCs, take a strain as they feel their energy being pulled into the crystal through me.
There is the sound of, you know, when the bass suddenly drops and it goes boom, there is that kind of absence of sound suddenly, but very loud, kind of Inception style impact, and everybody just feels lesser. The bones and the bruises and the muscle ache that you feel after a fight, you feel now, as everything, the adrenaline kind of draws its wave back from you, and the strain on your body kind of kicks in, centered around this crystal and centered around yourself, and it goes out and hits, as say, all of the party and the cultists and a few of the NPCs. Adam, you feel this power as a conduit between the crystal and yourself, and you feel it all drawing in as the tides push in and out. And this crystal acts like a sinkhole in the harbour as you feel the power of the force just driving through you and into it. It's not the only thing you feel, and it is a feeling, but it can be equated to be almost like a sound. You hear a voice, not in your ears, but in your mind. And it says, "Awaken me. Awaken me." And there is a poof, and the reality of the world comes right the way back in. Everybody taking that strain as they go. But Adam, you used it as a weapon.
I did. That's 3 damage plus whatever I get for it being an improvised weapon. I imagine 1 extra.
Yep.
That's only 4 damage. I'm not very strong, but I have just smashed it in the temple with this crystal.
You have. It is their go now. Adam and Ed, you're getting attacked, I'm afraid.
No, that's fine.
So, Adam, no successes, no failures, free threat. So, the guy who you just bashed in the head, clearly, this artifact is something that they are so very focused on. They are completely want to take it, they need to have it, and now you're bashing his brains in with it. He's having a problem kind of getting around that change in his life. He wanted the artifact, he didn't really want it as forceful as he's getting it. So he is panicking, he's on a full-on panic, he's going to take a fair bit of strain there. However, Ed, that's 3 successes and 2 advantage. So you're fortunate that the critical rate on this one is 3, because I really would like to. But that is 8 damage, I'm afraid, mate.
And I've got a soak of 1, so it's 7, yeah?
Yep. 7, yeah.
Okay, it's still standing.
Okay. And with his advantage, he pulls himself to his feet. He does. He gets himself so he is not prone. He is not the guy on top of Adam, so he is, or at least with Adam, so he can't reach out for the crystal at the moment. But he is back on his feet. Who's next?
Ross, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm going to go next. I'm going to keep going for the one I was just failing to grapple the last time.
Okay.
I'm going to focus on that.
Remind me what weapon you're using, by the way.
I'm just using my hands. But yeah, it's clearly not worked because I've got a failure and 1 advantage.
Okay. What would you like the advantage to be? You miss and crack your fist comedically almost into the side of the corridor. Doesn't do you any damage, but fights like this, when Captain Heek's around, always has this sort of hijinks.
Yeah, my movie career is doing as well as we were thinking it is at the minute. So yeah, it's looking tense. I'm happy to run with that.
Okay. What would you like your advantage to be?
I'm not too worried about strength at the minute. I'm just thinking I've missed, but he's in sidestepping. He's put himself in a position where it's a little bit more easy for somebody else to hit him next.
All right. Pass the boost on to the next person.
Yeah.
Who is the next person?
He looks down at the blood pouring out of him and looks at his opponent, who I'm assuming the Varian's like hunched over in that kind of combat stance with like knife looking kind of awesome looking and wicked. Heek will look at his wrench, drop the wrench, draw his revolver and shoot the monster.
Almost casually, just dropping the wrench, flipping the protective tag off your revolver, pulling it out, and firing before you even get to aim, kind of straight up, lazily shooting away. Can you roll me some... you get a boost from the previous round.
The difficulty is 2 because it's so close?
Yeah, difficulty is 2 because you're in close combat, and it's a 1 red as well because there are people around.
3 advantage and 1 success.
So damage for 5 damage. He's already taken a hit. It is enough to kill him, so don't worry too much about the crit. You lazily bring up your revolver, shoot him. There's an explosion of residue from the gun, and he just slumped backwards.
Cool.
Okay, so that is one of them down. He slumps to the floor like a corner with dirty laundry in it. We go on to the next character.
Lou, do you want to go first?
Yep. If I can, I would like to move over to where the one is on top of the Kalinat.
Yeah.
And attempt to remove him violently.
Okay. He got a lot of fret previously, and you're the first person to come into it. You get 2 boosts on this guy because he is freaking out because one of his seemingly holy artifacts is being used to beat his brains out.
And that is 1 success and 1 advantage. So that's 4 in total.
That is enough to stop him from being a problem. How does that look?
So yes, I would imagine that Kuro, sort of seeing that the captain has got his situation covered, rolls over, stands up, just grabs the remaining Vreen underneath the chin and draws the claws across its throat and then sort of throws it out of the way. It's a very, very efficient movement.
If you were to misconstrue, people might say casual, but it's not casual. It's just... you don't use any movements that you don't necessarily need to. It's efficient, yeah, you're right. But it does look brutal because you do so little and he's dead. I imagine if it wasn't so loud in here, you'd hear a few gasps from some of the non-coms, but it is just brutal. Adam, we're kind of going out of initiative, but you've got a round to do something, and you might want to do something before we get out of initiative, so...
I think at the moment that Rakeo is still just panicking and is flailing around with the crystal, backpedaling frantically until he bashes into like the table that's behind him, at which point he'll swing round and try and swing for that with the crystal as well. He's just totally overwhelmed.
The weight from the creature that was attacking you goes, and you start backwards, crashing into the table with all of the archaeological stuff on it. You swing round and grab for it, but I mean, you are a man of learning, a man of logic, but it takes you a second or so to realise where you are. And it's not embarrassment, but suddenly you realise there's nothing attacking you, and you're holding onto a table. Thunder rumbles outside. Other than that, it's quiet.
I would like to roll a discipline check to try to get control of myself again.
Yeah, I wasn't going to suggest it, but I can see advantages to doing it, considering you've just been taught about the crystal. So please do roll a discipline check, and successes will help you in the future because of this.
I am going to roll a flow test as part of this as well.
Oh, yeah.
Now, normally, when Rakeo uses his miracles granted to him by the goddess, including ebb and flow, he prays. That's how he channels the miracles of the goddess. But he's running so hard on instinct that it's just happening. He doesn't even realise that he's channeling the miracles at the moment. He might even not be doing it consciously. It might even just be a side effect of the crystal and that tidal wave that's still pulling energy and life force in.
Yeah.
What's my difficulty?
I would still say a difficulty of 2. Well, despite having the stresses of things, I am going to give you a setback dice because of the amount of stress that you're under. But I'm also going to give you a boost dice because you're using ebb and flow, and I feel that there is the potential for greatness in this as well as the potential for dread.
Don't remove setbacks here. 1 success, 1 advantage, and 2 light side points. I'm going to use one of those light side points to activate flow properly, which heals me a strain and has no ill effects on anybody else.
Yep.
I'm going to use the second advantage. Sorry, the advantage. I can't use the second. Or rather, I can, but not for anything relevant with
Don't worry about the second light side point. I'm going to suggest something in a second. I know you can't use it, but it's thematically the right way.
The advantage I'm going to use to regain another strain as he masters himself, as he hears that voice, but as a trained priest, he is used to channeling the miracles of the goddess, but he's also used to resisting temptations. He's specifically a Kalanat seer, and what that means is his job in the church is to reach for visions into the future and interpret them. It is to handle the sacred artifacts that are left over, to catalogue them, to archive them, to understand and to know them and not to give in. Yeah. This is what he has been trained for his whole life, and it's been a long life to this point. And I think that as the adrenaline starts to ebb very slightly and he realises where he is, his willpower slams closed on his panic and fear like a steel trap. And suddenly, with a single deep breath in, as he gets all that tension into his lungs and then breathes it out, and he's once again in control.
That's right. That is perfect. And that is shown with the fact that you roll 2 light sides in the way that you can not only push everything you back control back, you're still holding onto it, but you detach yourself from the crystal. It is now no longer connected to you whilst you push your will and push the edges of your boundary. You're fighting back against the noise, the volume of the crystal whilst holding it. It won't be permanent. It's always going to be a constant thing, but you find yourself again. You recombobulate.
And with a rigidity in his voice, and no quaver, no wobble, not even a hint of the pain that he's in from the dagger that's still wedged in his gut, he goes, "Can somebody pass me the box, please? This needs locking away."
The dark prism is deposited back in the ornate box. You feel that you're out of the storm, both metaphorically and actually physically now, as you move further and further away from the LaRue estate. There's just a light rain hitting as you travel on. Captain Sato seemingly has got more of a handle on the ship as there is smooth sailing for now. You're about, I would say, 40 minutes away from the train station. You're bleeding, you're injured, you're scared. At least some of the people here are scared. And you need to make a decision when you get there as to if you want to leave this disaster and go back to Horizon City or stay and see it through. As I say, the storm is letting up, but it looks like there's probably going to be storms on the horizon, and that's where I'm going to leave it today.
Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Edge Studios. Our intro music is by the amazing Sly Fox Audio. Check out more of her work at soundcloud.com/SlyFoxAudio. Our outro music is Suburban Outlaw instrumental version by Forget the Whale, used with gratitude under a Creative Commons license. Many of the sound effects and soundscapes are created using Sirenscape, because epic games need epic sounds. If you're enjoying the show and want to support us, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/forcemajeurepod, where for as little as $1 a month you get access to outtakes, adverts, various other stuff, and my fortnightly ramblings. You can drop us a coffee at ko-fi.com/forcemajeurepod, or you can leave us a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to interact with us, there's a few ways you can do that. We are on the social medias, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter as @ForceMajeurePod, and we're over on Mastodon as @ForceMajeurePod at dice.can. You can also join our Discord, link in the show notes. Thank you very much for listening and being with us as we tell these stories. We hope you are having fun, and we will see you next time.